This is IShowSpeed, a flag football champion that also just so happens to be one of the biggest content creators in the world.
My mom is kind of homeless. I live with my dad. I want to help her out.
Speed, I'm watching the stream while you try not to laugh, bro. That's disrespectful as shit, bro.
But you see, a lot of people don't know that Speed actually has a different side to him. Because while there are definitely times where he'd be doing crazy stuff like jumping into his computer or even jumping over some speeding cars, but there are also times where Speed could lock in and become a dominant athlete on the field. And even he knows it.
I miss American football. I might play it next year. Yo, Chad, should I play football?
So today I am putting IShowSpeed into College Football 25. Let's just see what happens if he decided to take the sport seriously, as we'll follow him on his road to glory. Now, coming out of high school, Speed was actually more of a soccer player. But you see, the coaches had him down as a 5-star recruit because of his speed. A lot of people don't know that before Noah Lyles ever became a US gold Olympic medalist, one day he actually raced IShowSpeed and it ended up in a tie.
Was that not a tie? That was a tie! I'm the fastest man alive!
Basically, Speed was getting a ton of offers all around the country, largely because of what they felt like he could be as a running back. But being from the city of Cincinnati, Speed knew that he wanted to stay close to home to his mama. And considering that it was one of the schools that gave him an offer, when it came to IShowSpeed's college decision, he decided to sign with Cincinnati. Now, as soon as IShowSpeed got to campus, he told the coaches that he was not rocking with number 24. Apparently, they didn't have his favorite number 7, which he usually wears because of Cristiano Ronaldo. But it was all good though, man, because he decided to rock with number 1 and he was ready to start his college football journey. And as soon as IShowSpeed hit the practice field, he was proving to the coaches that he was faster than everybody else out there. So Speed was feeling real good about himself up until the starting running back sent him this text, talking about how Speed better not thinking about taking his spot anytime soon. And I'm not gonna lie to you, man, it's the exact kind of thing that would make Speed crash out. But instead, he decided to stay calm and react in a way that he usually would. So yeah, the coaches thought that this nigga had lost his damn mind. But it was all good though, man, because the coaches also told him that he will get some playing time in his first college game. So now at this point, IShowSpeed was hyped, and he was ready to get into his first matchup against the UGF Pandas. Hey, and sure enough, the coaches are already putting Speed in the game. His very first play in college football was actually a pass to him, and he damn near picked up the first down. But despite making a play, the coaches had decided to take him off the field, and they didn't put him back in up until late in the second quarter, where they had him out there at wide receiver. Standing at only 5'8" tall, the coaches didn't really know what to expect out of him. But it turns out that Speed had a great ability to get open. He brought his team inside the red zone, but once again his coaches decided to take him out the game. And this time it would be till the end of it. But although IShowSpeed didn't get a lot of playing time, he did catch a win in his first ever college football game, 38-7. But when Speed saw that the same running back who was talking crazy to him earlier had just one player of the game, that was definitely making Speed feel a certain type of way. And despite the victory in his first game, he was having a hard time not showing his frustration, because that boy was not fulfilling any of his freshman duties. He was just too focused on trying to make the most of his upcoming opportunities as he was heading into his second game of his career against Pittsburgh. Now this was a game where Speed was getting a little more playing time than he thought he would. Early on, he was able to make a catch, run upfield and say hey, picking up a decent chunk of yardage as he moves his team across midfield. And although he was making some catches out of the backfield, it was when he was lined up at wide receiver where he made his biggest impact. Because regardless of the fact that Speed was starting to make a pretty solid impact in the running game by picking up first downs, none of that would compare to this play where Speed went out there at wide receiver and said, "Wang!" All 5'8" of him snagged that shit off that little boy's head, and IShowSpeed was really starting to look like he could play some ball. The coaches let Speed play a little bit more throughout the second quarter before taking him out the game. But IShowSpeed had definitely helped his team secure a victory as they won 21-16. And although Speed did not win player of the game, he was still pretty happy about his performance, and even decided to go out to a party after the game to rizz up some ladies.
What do you want to say in Hungarian?
Like, yo, you fine as hell, baby.
Kurva jól nézel ki.
Kurva Delavelski.
It's not really nice to say kurva means whore.
Whore?
Yeah.
You son of a...
So even though things didn't work out for him this time, it was all good though, man, because Speed knew that one day his time will come. Especially with the way that he's working hard to earn that starting spot. Speed has a feeling that he'll get all the baddies in the future. But for now, he has to lock in and try to make a play in his next game against an in-state rival, as Cincinnati is set to face off against Miami of Ohio. They put Speed in the game late in the first quarter to give him a carry, and he went out there and almost picked up a first down. They didn't put him out there again until 2 minutes left in the second quarter, so he was trying to call for the ball anytime he could. This time though, it resulted in a pick, and the defender was able to take it the distance to the house for a touchdown. So definitely not a great start for our guy Speed. They let him play again before the end of the first half, and he went out there and set Shablaka, helping to pick up a first down for Cincinnati before being taken off the field again. Unfortunately in this game, although Speed was getting a few opportunities, he never really got a chance to string plays together. One of his biggest plays of the game though was down at the goal line where he got his team just a little bit closer, allowing his team to get across the goal line for a touchdown, ultimately sending this game into overtime where unfortunately Miami of Ohio would close it out, taking the W 20-17 in a game where Speed was actually one of the biggest contributors despite having limited opportunities. And after the game, one of the cameras got a glimpse of Speed's reaction to the loss in the locker room. You see, y'all, Speed couldn't stand the fact that he was not the starting running back. He felt like he knew that he was better than this other dude, and that they were only starting him because he was a senior. At this point, man, Speed knew that all he could do was just keep working hard and wait for an opportunity to potentially become the starter one day. In the game against Houston, Speed did not play until the second quarter, but he was out there saying, hey, helping his team pick up big yards and move the chains. They put him out there later in the drive on third down, and Speed was there to make the catch and get into the end zone for his second career touchdown. He is still yet to have a rushing touchdown, but he has proven to be a viable weapon at receiver. Later on in the third quarter, they allow him an opportunity to maybe get that rushing touchdown, and he almost takes it by getting his team down inside the 5-yard line. Unfortunately, they decided to take him out the game after that, but luckily they did score. And on the very next drive in the same position, Speed was breaking off tacklers and getting his team right back down towards the goal line with the chance to score. And although Speed wasn't the guy to punch it in the end zone, it seems like every opportunity he gets, he's trying to make the most of it before being taken off the field. In the end though, Cincinnati would find a way to complete the comeback, winning the game 26-21. And since IShowSpeed was playing really well at this point, he was rightfully confused as to why he still didn't have a chance to be a starter going into the following week. So going forward, he decided to just keep working on his skills and hope that he can keep performing better than the starter in their next game against Texas Tech. They put Speed in the game in the first quarter at wide receiver, and he went out there and made a catch that brought his team down to the 2-yard line. And of course, they take him out to allow the starting running back to take all the glory. Either way, Speed was glad that he can go out there and make a play. But on his next opportunity, he would have a chance to make a bigger one, because he was coming up with the catch that brought his team way past midfield, giving them a chance to score a field goal before half. After halftime, this game was tied at 10. And for whatever reason, Texas Tech didn't feel like it was necessary to guard Speed, because almost every time that he got an opportunity, he was not only getting open, but coming up with the catch. And it would only be a few plays later on 3rd and 12 where Speed would snag this ball off this boy's head. And this was actually one of the many catches that Speed was making all throughout this game. And he had done enough to not only get his quarterback over 1,000 yards passing on the season, but also secure another victory for Cincinnati, winning 20-13 in a game where the starting running back had one player of the game. But regardless of that, IShowSpeed just officially had his best game as a college football player, going for 8 receptions and 164 yards. And with such an excellent performance, it was no surprise that Speed would finally get a chance to become the starting halfback. And if you think Speed didn't come to practice 100% locked in, then you are absolutely smoking bath salts, my friend. Speed went out there and dominated the entire practice, officially earning his spot as the #1 halfback for Cincinnati. But now that IShowSpeed has officially won the starting job, he figured he'd go celebrate by heading out to a car show.
What kind of car is this, baby?
Hey man, that's the kind of dog that Speed's gonna need to have if he's gonna lead his team to victories throughout the rest of their season. Cincinnati has some big time matchups on their schedule coming up, including their next one against the top 25 ranked opponent, UCF. Early on in his college debut as a starter, IShowSpeed was showing that he had capabilities of being an excellent running back. And even though he already proved to be an excellent pass catcher, it didn't really help them on this drive as Cincinnati was held to 3 points. Now, one thing about Speed though, man, is that he was not selfish. He was more than willing to pass protect and allow his quarterback time to get the ball downfield. And eventually on this same drive, it would now be IShowSpeed who reaps the benefits of being down at the goal line, as he gets across for his first rushing touchdown of his college football career, one of many that he hopes to get in the future. But in a game where IShowSpeed was absolutely dominant on the ground, coming up with multiple 15+ yard carries throughout this game, it would be no surprise that he found himself right back down towards the goal line, where he punched his way across for another score and ultimately doing enough to effectively put an end to this game. As in his first game as a starter, IShowSpeed helped Cincinnati win 17-7. And for the first time in his career, he finally wins Player of the Game with 147 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he was so proud of his performance, he figured he might as well go try and talk to some more ladies.
Rizmo activated. Yo, you single? You single?
No.
I'm not.
Fuck, bro. Bro, why they don't just say they have a boyfriend when I see him?
Yeah, he got rejected again, man, but at least this time, he had earned himself his first Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week. And the crazy thing is that at this point in the season, he already has more yards than the previous starter, and off less carries. So it started to seem obvious to a lot of people around the country that Cincinnati potentially had a star on their hands. Speed was just hoping to keep up this level of play going into his next game against Arizona State. And on his first carry of the game, IShowSpeed was able to wiggle his way into the secondary, say hey, and he was off to the races. There was nobody who was going to catch him on his way to the end zone for his first touchdown of the game. And even though the following drive was the exact opposite, it was all good though, man, because when you had a guy like IShowSpeed who could catch the ball out of the backfield and completely flip the field in one play, that was going to be invaluable to their success going forward. Especially when he was out there running the ball like this, saying, get off me. Just shutting everybody's tackle on the way inside the red zone for Cincinnati. And even though this drive only ended in 3 points, Cincinnati was able to score another field goal by the time the third quarter came around. And with the help of IShowSpeed making the most of every single one of his runs, they were in position to take a lead with a touchdown after Speed bounces off this tackle and makes his way towards the end zone for the score, giving Cincinnati the second half lead. But one thing about Speed was that he was clutch, because when this game had less than 20 seconds left and Cincinnati was behind their own 50, IShowSpeed was making a catch that brought his team well beyond midfield and deep into opposing territory for a chance to win the game. And they sure did, winning 24-21 after hitting the field goal. And once again, your player of the game was IShowSpeed. With 161 yards and 2 touchdowns, it was no surprise that he was starting to get some attention from the girls around campus. The thing about Speed though, man, is that he did not know how to play it cool. So whenever he got asked out to a party, he would start sending double, even triple texts. And y'all might not even believe it, but this dude ended up getting himself blocked. So now, although he is 0 for 3 with women, he was able to win back-to-back Big 12 Player of the Week, and for the first time win a National Player of the Week. But Speed knew that this was really only just the beginning. He felt like he had a real opportunity to become one of the best players in college football, and he had a feeling that he was going to go prove it in his next game against Colorado. Now to start this game off, Speed was running pretty wild. He scored a touchdown to cap off the opening drive of the game, and he played well into the third quarter where he capped off the opening drive of the second half with another touchdown. And it was all throughout the second half where Speed was acting crazy. He not only said hey, but absolutely obliterated this boy's ankle, snapped that shit in half, thank you. And just like that, Speed was on his way towards the end zone for another touchdown on the season, and nobody was there to catch him. He was already in the end zone for his third touchdown of the game. But when he got to this 3rd down and 1 in the 4th quarter, he was able to find another wide open lane towards the end zone for another score, making it his 4th touchdown of the game so far, and he doesn't even know how many yards he has. He just knows that he's cooking these boys up like some shrimp fried rice. And after he takes another handoff later in the 4th quarter that goes for his 5th touchdown of the game, yeah, he had to make sure that he wasn't tripping or nothing because this felt a little too easy. Speed had led Cincinnati to a 42-24 ass whooping on Colorado. And along with his 5 touchdowns, Speed had actually rushed for over 300 yards, obviously earning himself Player of the Game, and it was no surprise that he won National Offensive Player of the Week as well. The scariest part about this was that now that Speed was taking football seriously, all he really wanted to do was just keep improving on his skills and keep performing well. He knew he still had a long season ahead of him, but he was going into the rest of his schedule determined to prove just how dominant he could be. Speed came out here in a game against West Virginia and showed just how effective he can be in the passing game, going for a receiving touchdown with 3 seconds left in the half to put Cincinnati up by 3. Then in the second half, he took this handoff to the right side, and he was able to burst his way outside towards the end zone for a touchdown, coming up with a score that not only extended the lead, but effectively put an end to this game, with Cincinnati coming out with another victory over a top 25 ranked opponent. And even with it being a game where he didn't dominate on the ground, he definitely did through the air. 15 receptions for 132 yards is crazy. Definitely not something you'd expect from a freshman running back, but you can expect that Speed will keep winning Players of the Week. In his next game against Iowa State, IShowSpeed was absolutely cooking these boys up. He somehow found his way in the end zone on this play in the second quarter to give his team the 7-0 lead. And in the second half, he was coming up with big plays like this run where he brought his team inside the red zone. And he even showed his versatility by starting out with his hand in the dirt and still being able to get a touchdown. And he did all of this on his way to another victory as Cincinnati beat Iowa State 17-7. And with another excellent performance from IShowSpeed, he was earning himself another Offensive Player of the Week. Speed was becoming such a well-known player that even Patrick Mahomes wanted to practice with him in his free time.
Bounce my ass. They come over right, then keep going straight, okay?
I'm glad we don't have a D-line or anything. All right, we got it. There we go, there we go.
Go! Oh my God, man!
Another great thing was that Speed had got his team in position to make the college football playoffs. All he had to do was just finish out his season strong over the last few games. His next one being against the number 7th ranked team in the country, Kansas State. And for the first time in a while that Speed can remember, he was struggling a lot in this game. Even when he was making a play like this catch out the backfield, he was still doing too much and fumbling the ball. It wouldn't be till later in the second quarter where he would take this handoff to the left side, say excuse me, and power his way across the goal line for a touchdown, extending Cincinnati's lead to 2 possessions and giving them major momentum going forward. In the second half, it was more of the same, with him being able to break off some tackles and work his way towards moving the chains for his team. But with Kansas State failing to score any points throughout this game, all it would take was another touchdown reception from IShowSpeed on the season to put this game away, as Cincinnati shuts out Kansas State 17-0. And this defensive back definitely deserved player of the game with his 3 interceptions, but Speed also had a pretty decent game with 100 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns. But now with the regular season about to come to a close, Speed knows that he's just a couple wins away from getting his team into the college football playoffs. Now this was a game where surprisingly Speed had no major contributions to this offense, as they were able to move their way up into the end zone themselves for half their scores. Other than this one play where Speed had taken his handoff to the outside, ran up the field a little bit before saying hey to a defender, breaking off another tackle and speeding his way towards the end zone for a 98-yard touchdown. And the way that this offense is playing, you guys might think that they're going to go ahead and score 50 this game, but no. Matter of fact, look at this shit. Quarterback keeps the ball in his read option, gets stopped in the end zone for a safety. That's it, game over, they lose. By 2 damn points to an unranked team, Cincinnati loses. Now on the bright side, not only did Cincinnati make it to the Big 12 championship game, but IShowSpeed was actually the leading favorite for the Heisman. He could do something that no other player in this school's history has done, and he could potentially do it on his way to winning a national championship. And this had Speed so hyped, he decided that he was going to try to impress this girl he recently met. But now that Cincinnati had made it to the Big 12 championship, IShowSpeed knew that all he had to do was just lead them to one more victory and they would be on their way to the college football playoffs. Now this one started off a little differently than it did in the previous game against Kansas State, because even though Speed was doing okay, he wasn't doing enough to consistently move the chains for his team. And after he comes up with another short yardage run on first down, his coach actually decides to take him out the game. They didn't put him back in until late in the second quarter, and even when he was making a play, they still decided to take him out the game. They put him back in during the third quarter, but Speed was wondering what the hell was going on and why he wasn't getting more playing time. For now, he was just glad that his receiver could make the catch and make his way towards the end zone for a touchdown to give Cincinnati the lead. But then for some reason, the coaches decided not to put him back in until late in the fourth quarter. And at this point, Cincinnati was somehow down by 2 possessions now. And even though IShowSpeed was starting to make some big plays and get his offense going, the coaches decided to get him out the game during the most crucial moments and put in the old starter, which is probably why Cincinnati went on to lose this game 31-28. And even with Speed having limited touches, he was still the main contributor on this offense. But things would get even worse for Speed, because when the award ceremony came around, it turns out that Will Howard from Ohio State won the Heisman. And IShowSpeed was not happy, to say the least. I mean, just look at his face, bro. As far as some good news though, he did win the Best Running Back award, proving that he could be a dominant athlete when taking things seriously. He went on to win a bunch of other awards, and that was cool and all, but when he found out that Cincinnati would not make the college football playoffs and instead would be playing in the Gasparilla Bowl, all Speed could really think about was the fact that they kept taking him out the game. And it's probably the reason why he fell to third place in the Heisman voting after being first just a couple weeks ago. Man, I'll tell you guys what, right now, Speed did not know how to feel about all this. It felt like at the most important time of the season, everything just came crashing down. And in the back of his head, Speed felt like there was something fishy going on, but for now, he was just looking forward to playing in his final game of his freshman season, as Cincinnati was set to face off against Georgia Tech. Now, unfortunately, in this game, just like the previous one, Speed was being taken out the game for no reason, even on third downs. Soon Cincinnati found themselves down by 14, and anytime Speed was trying to make a play, they just took him right out the game. He didn't really start making an impact until late in the second quarter, but even then they took him out the game immediately after, so it didn't really matter. Because by the end of the third quarter, they were down by 21, and even on plays where it wasn't Speed's fault that the play failed, the coaches still decided to take him out the game. But this time all the way until the end, and of course Cincinnati would go on to lose their final game of the season, losing this one 24-10, but Speed already felt ready to move on. Because as far as the season stats, he was still the 4th leading rusher in the country, and he also had over 1,000 receiving yards as well. But deep down inside, Speed did feel some type of way. So when the reporters asked him how it felt to take a loss like this and miss out on the playoffs, let's just say he did not hold back.
This shit is so fucking ass, bitch! Turn that shit on! Turn that trash ass fucking
Now on a positive note, Speed's name was in the Cincinnati record book for the 300-yard game he had early in the season. But later on, Speed would find out that the coaches kept benching him just so that they can get the senior running back some more reps because his career was coming to a close. And that had upset Speed so much that he told the coaches straight up that he's entering the transfer portal. He doesn't want to be a part of a team that's going to take away his opportunities out of pity for others. And now that he has a lot of options to choose from, IShowSpeed is going into his sophomore season of college football looking for a team that can give him a chance to not only win a Heisman, but win a national championship. But this was the story of IShowSpeed in College Football 25. And if you want to see a part 2, be sure to get this video to 1,000 likes and subscribe to the channel down below. But also comment down below who else you guys want to see next. And don't forget to check out one of these other videos until the next one comes out. If you got to this point in the video, just know that I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. And other than that, I'm gonna catch you guys next time.